Okay, you are being recorded, so don't say any four-letter words.
Don't say anything useful for the next period of time. Right, I'm with you. So inside of the story branding, they say, what's the problem that the person has? And the phrases that pop up are like, I'm embarrassed about not something. And I feel intimidated. So if I try to project typically the business analyst, and I'm still trying to be clear, I've got mixed up in my head, am I talking to programmers or business analysts? But the business analysts typically feel embarrassed that they don't know the language. They're frustrated because their social value has declined because they don't know the language. They feel like they're being pulled around by the nose by the programmers who they're pretty sure are lying to them in some fashion, and probably are. So that's the problem they're suffering from. Their aspiration is to regain their sense of, what the hell is the word? Status, right? There's a confidence that comes that, like, I know my territory, right? Before Agile came, they knew their words, they knew their roles, they knew their territory, they knew their power. Agile took away all of that. So what we're striving to do is to give them back that power, that sense of power that they know that whatever they say is legit, legal, sound. They can carry the conversation. They're not embarrassed. They're getting the social status. That's the internal social target that we're building for, right? And so I like those words that came from the book, and I said this really matches what's going on there. Then they say you need a guide. That's me, and the guide needs to have empathy and authority. So the empathy is like I can hear you, I can play back for you what you're feeling in your life. And so that's my assignment in the first hour, right? Is the empathy thing, and the second is authority, which is pretty easy in my particular case to establish authority, right? So in the sales pitch, you've got this thing with empathy here during the initial period, and you can use the word empathy if you want, or understanding, right? But you've got it there to identify. Again, you could change identify, you could use the word understand, right? To understand the stakeholders and their roles, or you could say identify. But understand is an empathy word. You see that?
That's
you see that, Barb?
Got it. Yeah. Understand the stakeholders and their roles in the existing.
Right. You see how we're doing this, right? So it's empathy and authority. Right. And so my job inside the first hour is to show them that I understand where they're suffering and what their aspiration is.
Okay.
And the suffering is loss of social status, lack of confidence, being made fun of, being pulled around. The aspiration is to be able to speak with confidence and feel like they own their territory. They know what territory they own, and they own their territory.
Okay.
That's the aspiration that we're after. The plan was interesting because they said, try to do it in 3 steps. And that was actually pretty easy. And this plays into our project roadmap that we've got right here. And you see how I said roadmap very automatically there, right? Mm-hmm. Roles and responsibilities, skills, and practice. And so roles and responsibilities is ridiculously easy. Like literally I could do that in an hour. It will take 3-4 hours, discussions and so on. But you pretty much, that's identified inside of Scrum, inside the Agile world. They've got product owners who are responsible for this, development team that's responsible for this. We literally go grab it out of the Scrum guide. There's nothing wrong with using those words. They're not invasive. They're not terrible. They've been debugged. They're well recognized. So the roles and responsibilities can be done in dialogue with them in a few hours as I'm looking at this, yeah? The next thing is they need new skills to be able to carry out their half part of the dialogue with the programmers. The programmers have been told that they get certain rights and responsibilities, and typically the business people haven't been told what are their rights. And I love going to CIOs, VPs, and saying, yeah, they took away your right to lay down the schedule, but did they tell you have the right to walk down there and look at running software demos any day of the week without warning? They go, no. Well, of course they didn't tell you that because that puts a burden on them. Right? But what we've done is reallocated the rights. But you have to tell everybody what their rights are because everybody sees what they lost. They didn't see what they gained. Yeah? So that's inside of the roles and responsibility. But to play that, they'll need skills in particular with what I'll call micro slicing, the slicing of things, the stuff that you see on the creating a demo about that. Right. They have to learn how to push, present, and stay strong in their their half of the dialogue with the developers about what can be done inside of 2 weeks. And so one of the trainings I'll do, which is the Carpaccio exercise, is to show them from a product designer, from a product owner perspective, how to subset your request to things that programmers can do in 1 or 2 weeks. That's a skill that business people have to have. So that's inside the skills, right? There's other dialoguing skills. What does it mean to be in a stand-up? What does it mean to do a demo? What does it mean, right? That's in the skills. And then you'll say, when they say, help us with the demos, I put that into practice. We're going to practice that on your real project. So you'll practice those skills with me available, to some amount.
Right.
So that you'll gain in your confidence that you're doing it right. And if they're misbehaving, that I can be on your side and say, they're misbehaving, stand your ground. Or I could say, well, yeah, they're actually right, and we have to increase your skill and ability in this target zone.
Okay.